Good afternoon, everyone. It's SBG Active Aussie MGTOW here. Tuesday afternoon, about 3 p.m. I was just out near the bay this morning at Nudgee Beach, and I did a little bit of fishing, but was just mostly getting bites from sand crabs and wasn't that interesting, so I didn't take any video. But I am still hoping to get down to the Gold Coast, hopefully this week. So I'm looking forward to that, but just not getting the opportunity at the moment, at the current time. What I want to talk about for a few minutes is Asian simping, or Western men in Asia behaving as simps, or wannabe expats who are behaving as simps. So we have men, and a lot of these guys are in their late 50s, so they are about maybe 5 or 6 years older than myself. I'm in my early 50s, and these guys often have channels and they've met a Filipino over in the Philippines, or they're planning to go to the Philippines, or they say they will. And there is a guy called Mike who makes videos about the Philippines, and he criticized the Filipina P in several of his videos. And after he did that, all the simps, hordes of simps, just came out of the woodwork. And sometimes I watch Mike's videos. I agree with some of what he says, I disagree with some of what he says, but what he has said in regard to P and Rue Beauty is correct, and he has the evidence. But some of these supporters of P were very irate, because in one video, this guy Mike, he rated the P and gave her like 3 out of 10. And according to Asian beauty standards, Western beauty standards or Asian beauty standards, P would not even make it into the top 30 or 40%. And I know we should not judge people in superficial ways just based upon their looks, but if you're just using looks and body shape as a standard, gals like P and Rue Beauty would not even make it into the top 35-40% of gals in Asia. And I've lived in China before, I've lived in Thailand before, I've lived in Hong Kong, so I think I'm qualified to judge to a certain extent. And when I was in places like Hong Kong, Wuhan, Nanning, occasionally in Shanghai, you can walk outside of your apartment, and there are beautiful girls everywhere with cracking figures. And China just has some stunningly beautiful girls. Same in Japan if you go to Tokyo. So I feel these men who worship Philippine women like the P have actually never been to Asia, at least a lot of them. Because if they had, they wouldn't be in such a hurry to defend these gals. Some of them have been caught out lying several times, and there are many girls in the Philippines making videos now in regard to, some of them in regard to MGTOW, some in regard to the passport bros. And I made a video about this back in January, I think, and another one back in March, maybe late March, I can't really remember now. But men from the West who go over to Asia seem to behave like bigger simps once they get to Asian countries. It's like they left their brains behind when they arrived at the airport. That's just the way that I see it. So a lot of these guys go over to places like Thailand, the Philippines, maybe Bali, and they just lead with their wallet and they become even bigger simps than what they were back here in the West, in the USA, Australia, UK, Canada, wherever. And I actually saw this in China as well when I lived there. So a lot of guys just go for the lowest hanging fruit, the single mothers or poor and very uneducated gals, just because it's easier to do that. So if they've gone over to Asia to find a so-called better quality of woman and they just end up with a single mother, what was the point of going there in the first place? If they're just going there for the sake of meeting someone for a romantic relationship, marriage, whatever. So I've always noticed this, that not all, but a lot of Western guys just go for the lowest hanging fruit, the so-called bottom of the barrel on many occasions. And a lot of guys lose a lot of money and then they just have a tale of woe, oh, poor me. But it's your own fault because you didn't take heed of warning signs given by people who actually know what goes on. So as a Western guy, you can have a great time in Asian countries, but you don't be so open-minded that your brains fall out. You've got to always be careful and take heed of warnings from guys like me who have had a lot of experience. And it's often the guys who can't afford to lose a lot of money who get ripped off, guys in their late 50s or early 60s even, getting with very young, poor, broke, uneducated gals who really don't have a future. So a lot of these men are just nothing but resource providers. I just had a bit of spare time, so I thought I'd come out and make this video. I was down by the bay this morning doing a little bit of work and did a bit of fishing, and I made a little video there. I might upload that later, I don't know. But I hope you're all doing well, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.